There's a means by which you can support and even expand the ministry scope of Passion Life that you probably have never thought of. And that is by having John or myself or Tammy, one of the Passion Life stateside staff, in your home for dessert. We love pie. We have done these events in people's homes before. We call them Storming the Strongholds events. Essentially, this is an opportunity for us to come to someone's house, and they have invited friends, neighbors, church folks, people from their small groups, people from work, people who may or may not know us or the work of Passion Life. Invite us into their home, provide a couple of simple desserts, whether they're homemade or picked up from the grocery store. And John and I will hook up our computer to a TV screen, and we'll spend about an hour, hour and a half, whatever your time frame is, explaining what Passion Life does, where we go, why we do it, how it works, and telling encouraging stories and showing incredible pictures from around the world. Most people leave these things feeling like they've really experienced something uplifting and encouraging and awe-inspiring. And that's uncommon in pro-life ministry so many times. People think of pro-life ministry and they think of shame and they think of guilt and they think of people holding graphic signs on the sidewalk, people down in the trenches of legal battles, slogging it out, and people yelling at each other on the street corners. The truth is, there is a lot of encouraging material to discuss when it comes to pro-life work, and especially Passion Life's international pro-life work. We have stories that, as John would say, will buckle your knees. They're not our stories, they're God's stories. And many times we are amazed and we weep telling them or showing the pictures or playing the videos that we pull in from around the world. It's a really exciting time. We did one of these things just in my barn here on the family farm last week. Now, this was a little more involved. It was about 70 people. We had a dinner. I organized the whole thing. It was specifically a fundraiser. John flew in from Atlanta. It was a nice time to smoke a big Boston butt and have a catered meal and have a sommelier come in and do a wine tasting. And then John and I did a program together, showing pictures and telling stories for about an hour. Most of the people who came were people that certain friends of mine invited from their sphere of influence. So these were people that I didn't know. These were people that did not know the ministry of Passion Life. The common denominator is most of them were interested in some way in missions or pro-life or both. But even that's not completely necessary. The result is that a certain percentage of those people will want to sign up for the Passion Life newsletters. And when they do, they will want to pray for us when we go out on our next trip, that we'll experience some of these same encouraging results, and pray us through some of the discouraging stories that we tell of being trapped in airports or stuck on the side of the road in Cuba. Now, we don't sugarcoat the stories that we tell, but it's always compelling. It's missions. Some of these people will pray for us. Some of these people, either on the spot or over time, will begin to monetarily support the work of Passion Life. And that expansion of our donor and support and prayer base expands the scope and the ministry ability that Passion Life has all across the world. So it takes partners for John and I and the rest of our dedicated staff here in the United States and our dedicated staff in countries around the world. It takes partners for us to be able to do these things. And for you to invite people into your home to listen to stories and share a special evening like this, I think is a wonderful way for people who don't know how else to help us accomplish more of what we do, to figure out a way that they can do that. I think you'll feel good about it if you do it. You do not have to live near us. If you think that you can pull together a good group of people and you live in Maine, John and I will come to Maine. John or I will come to Maine, maybe both of us. If you live in Washington State, we're coming. We'll be there. We'd like to be able to figure out a way to kind of make it reasonable and profitable for us to be able to come out there. Maybe you have specific people in mind who would really, really have a heart for this kind of work. Or maybe at the same time, you'd like for us to meet with your mission pastor at your church and share the vision of what we do with your missions team or committee. All of that is to say, it's something that you should keep in mind. Storming the Strongholds, very, very encouraging way for you to bring people together around a slice of cheesecake and a television screen and share a wonderfully uplifting evening together that many times will lead several people to be involved more deeply in the work of Passion Life. That's a win for the kingdom. Consider hosting a Storming the Strongholds event in your home.